Word
Hi,
Insights.
welcome to Word Insight. My name is Tipsy for Jesus, and I want to thank you for your time. I want to also thank God for the grace to witness another beautiful day, to be alive, because it is because we are alive that we can do this. So we thank the Almighty Father, King of creation. Thank you, Lord Jesus. I welcome you once again to World Insight, and our topic today is God's timing, part 2. We will be continuing from where we left off in our last video on this same program. God's timing. And in the last part, in the last video, we took our verse from Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11a, which reads, "In his time he has made everything beautiful. In his time he has made everything beautiful." And in the last video, I was talking about the Garden of Eden and why God created it and why God put man inside it. So, God created the Garden of Eden, and the reason, the purpose that He created Garden of Eden was so He could make it like an institution, like a school for man, because when God created man, He just made him like that. Man knew nothing. Man had no knowledge whatsoever of how to navigate his way around the earth. He didn't have any prior understanding of why he was actually created. So when God created man, he had no idea of who he was or why he was made. So God had to now create like an institution, like a school, so that he could tutor man and teach man the basics of life, the reason man was created. So he had to teach him, the basics, things he has to do. The man had to do, like who he was. God had to remind him, this is why I created you, so that you could beautify the earth, you could replenish it, you could, dominate it, you could be the ruler, you could represent me on earth by bringing my will, by making sure that my will is done on earth. You are like an extension of me. So God had to, ram it, ram it inside man again. Let him realize who he actually was and why he created him. You understand? And as it is with every university, with every institution, with every organization, there are rules and regulations that have been put in place so that, there will be disciplined. There will be discipline. You can't just be doing things anyhow. You have to have some set of rules and regulations that are guiding you so that you will not go against the will of God. And according to the Bible, it's only one rule that God actually gave to man. He told him that you could have everything in the garden. You could eat from every tree, you could eat from every herbal tree, but there is only one that you mustn't touch. For in the day that you touch it or eat it, you will die. You understand? So, of all the rules and regulations that God gave to man, God could as well have given man different kind of set rules, but He only chose to give him just one rule. This is what you shouldn't do. Just that tree, don't touch it. It is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And if you eat it, then you are going to die. And some people will be like, why did God lie to them? Because they didn't die. But the truth is that when they actually ate that fruit, they died in the spirit. But that is another discussion for another day. I'm not about to go into that. Now, what we're actually talking about here is God's timing. Adam and Eve could not wait out the time required for them to complete their course, So they forced the hand of God and enforced their own freedom. Because I don't know why, maybe because they are tired of, reporting or accounting, making accounts to God, or maybe they just wanted freedom. They just wanted to rebel. I don't know, but Someone suggested to them that they were not going to die, that God had lied to them, and they believed that other person and decided to disobey God. And because of that, God had to banish them out of the Garden of Eden. And because they had not completed their courses and they had not, made up the time that was required for them to complete the course, we are where we are today. You understand? Also, they got banished. They didn't just get banished, they also carried a curse upon themselves. Because, like as it is with every rules and regulations, if you really study the law, you realize that there is always punishment for each crime that you commit. If you do this, you do this. If you kill, this is your punishment. If you do manslaughter, this is your punishment. If you steal, this is your punishment. So it is with them. Aside from the fact that they died a spiritual death and got cut off from God, the flow, the ease to which they could communicate with God, that communication flow link was cut off. So they couldn't approach God the way they used to because they sinned and rebelled against God. Also, aside from that, each one of them that had made them commit, like the snake, God had to separately put curses on them. So they carried the punishment and they also got life sentenced, to death. So that's how it is. They could not wait their time. So they forced their freedom, and we are where we are today as a result of that. So in the last video, I also mentioned that I will be citing 3 people from the Bible as examples of people to follow when we are talking about God's timing. People that waited on God and they got amply rewarded for it. So the first person is David, the second person is Mordecai, and the third person is Joseph. Today I will be talking briefly about King David. Like we all know, David was a man after God's heart. And God, when Saul failed God and rebelled also against God by disobeying a strict instruction that God has given to him, go to a certain place, destroy them, don't spare anything, but he went and did as he wished. And then God now rejected him and told Samuel to tell him that he wasn't going to continue with him anymore. So after that, God now told Samuel to go and anoint David as the king, that he had found a man after his heart. So Samuel went and anointed David king. And since the day that David was anointed king, it had been problem upon problem. It was just, everything was against him. And then the king somehow got the wind of the fact that he had been anointed, and he started pursuing him, chasing him, looking for ways to destroy David, to kill him, so that his own kingship or lineage could continue their kingship. And despite all that David went through, he had several opportunities to kill Saul. A lot of us, if we were presented with such opportunities, we wouldn't even have thought twice. We would have just gone ahead and killed. But he said, how can I do this and sin against God's anointed? He said he wasn't going to do that. His life was in the hand of God. So he left everything in the hand of God. And when the time came for God to fight for him, God made sure that that it wasn't only Saul that died. Also, the whole of his lineage perished. Because if we are saying the truth here, if Jonathan had lived and maybe some other Saul's children had lived, then it would have been difficult for David to be crowned king. We'll continue this in our next video. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.